Hello, I'm Moira McPartlin and I'm the Scriever for the Federation of Writers Scotland 2022. This year I am also the judge for the Federation's Autumn Equinox writing competition. I'm the prose judge, short stories. So I thought there is a little paragraph on the competition page of some of the things that I am looking for. But I thought while I was doing that it might be a good idea to just do a little video about short stories and short story writing. I have been writing short stories for about 25 years. I've had quite a number of them published in anthologies, and I have had a few that have won competitions. I've judged quite a few competitions for short stories, so I just want to share with you my experiences of short stories and what a judge will be looking for in a competition. So first of all, what I look for in a short story is tight, well-structured prose. By structure, I mean the flow of the story. It seems like common sense, and I know that this is basic, that a story should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. When I teach creative writing, that is the first thing that I start with. Now, it doesn't matter in what order the beginning, middle, and end come within your story, as long as all three are present in the story. And I'm amazed sometimes when I read some stories, even stories that are published, that just don't seem to go anywhere. Right at the beginning of your story, you need to let the reader know where they are. In the first paragraph, set the story up, let them know the setting, create a sense of place or create a sense of atmosphere so that the reader has a signal of where they are going with the story. In the tightness of the story is making sure that every word counts. Even the title, the words need to count, because that also helps to signal the reader on what they are expecting in the story. No rambling descriptions. It's nice to be able to picture what is happening, but as soon as you start going into big long descriptions, you lose the pace, and that you lose your reader as well. Rather than using lots and lots of words to describe something, find a couple of really, really just very pertinent words to use. Try avoiding adverbs. I read this first in Stephen King's great writing book on writing. He absolutely hates adverbs, and since reading that, I am very, very conscious of any adverbs that I use in my work. First draft, I can use as many adverbs as I want, but after that, I go through them, through the whole thing, and underline them all and try and find really, really good verbs that just say exactly what you want to say. And again, that is another way of keeping things tight. Try to use unusual language. Surprise your reader. Beth McDonough and I are running some workshops throughout Scotland called Migrations of Language. And in those workshops, we are encouraging the participants to think about words from their own background, words that you don't hear anymore, lost words. And this is a great way of as well as surprising the reader, of actually giving the reader some satisfaction. That there's nothing better than reading something and saying, oh, imagine using that word in that way. I love reading things that have got really unusual words in them. Great characterization. I could almost have put this right at the beginning, because when I write a short story, I begin with a theme. And the next thing I do is to create my characters. I am a character-driven writer. I tend to focus more on the characters than on the plot. If you create a great character, the plot will write itself. Before I start writing the story, I will do a character description. Not physical description, but their essence. I very rarely put a physical description in my work unless the physical description is actually useful for the plot. I prefer the reader makes up their own mind about what the character looks like. But the descriptions that I use, it's almost like a backstory about how, you know, what's her favourite colour, what's her favourite food, what are they scared of, what are their biggest dreams, those sorts of things. And if you do that, you really get to know your character. You don't need to use any of the information in your story, but it helps you to understand who the character is. Don't overwrite your work. I'm guilty of this. I have a theme and I start writing the theme and then I go off on another strand and I end up with 2 or 3 things going on. Stick to the one story and make that story really work. Give it depth and don't confuse your reader with throwing too much at them within a story, because you'll lose them along the way. And talking about losing your reader, don't alienate your reader. I am a reader as well as a writer, and sometimes I can read short stories and they can be abstract and vague, and you finish them and you just think, what was that about? I didn't really understand that. And it makes you feel bad as a reader. The same goes for using foreign words or foreign phrases within a story. A lot of writers do this, and it's fine. It's absolutely fine to use foreign words and foreign phrases, particularly if it is really important for the plot. But find a way to let the reader know what that is, what the translation is, because unless you know Russian or Gaelic or Spanish, you're just going to miss that point of the story. So try not to alienate your reader. And also finish the story with a satisfying conclusion. You can sometimes finish a story and be absolutely frustrated because there's lots and lots of questions that have arisen in the story that haven't been answered. And again, I'm quite guilty of this, and I have to go back and make sure that I tie up all of the loose ends. It's okay to finish your story or novel or whatever with quite a little bit of a vague ending, so that you're forcing your reader to work a little bit harder and to work out, make up their own mind about the ending. I call this a Gone with the Wind ending, and I have got an ending in one of my books, The Incomers, my first novel. I still think it's a great ending, but I did get a lot of feedback that I didn't really like that ending. But I also got a lot of feedback that's a great ending, because it left me to make up my own mind. So as long as all the clues are there, it's okay to leave your reader with a little, oh, I wonder what happened there. On a technical point, from a judge's point of view, make sure that your spelling and your punctuation are spot on. Also follow the guidelines as laid down in the competition rules, because there's nothing worse as a judge and you're reading a really, really good story, but it is let down by just these technical issues. When I was studying and I had to write essays on sociology, I used to painstakingly make sure that I didn't lose any points at all on my presentation. I used to make sure that there was 2 dots after the full stop and everything was absolutely correct. All my notes were in place, because I thought that's the easy part. getting the punctuation and getting the spelling and obeying the submission guidelines is the easy part. You don't want to fall down on that. Most importantly, when you are doing this short story for the competition or just for your own benefit, have fun. Remember, this is supposed to be fun, and it is fun. I absolutely love writing short stories. I love the buzz that I get when I finish a short story and I know that it's worked. I really, really love that. If you like, what you can do is you can look at classic short stories that are held up as being the greatest short stories ever written. You just need to Google that and you will come up with a great big list, but I think about 50 that you can work your way through. My favourite ones are The Lottery by Shirley Jackson, and this is one that creative writing teachers have been saying for years is one of the greatest short stories. The Ones Who Walked Away from Omelas by Ursula Le Guin is another one. It completely blows you away when you read it, and you know, the craft is phenomenal. The Long Rain by Ray Bradbury. In fact, I would encourage you to read anything by Ray Bradbury. People can be a bit sniffy about him because he is foremost a science fiction writer, but his short stories, even although they can be set in another world, they are still fabulous short stories, great characters, and a really strong sense of place. So The Long Rain by Ray Bradbury, I would encourage you to read. So I hope this has been useful for your short story writing. I hope that you do write a short story and send it into the competition. That would be great to get lots and lots of entries. And if so, good luck, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.